This past week, I like to, hey, I do host my own radio show, but I like to listen to other shows. One of the other shows I like to listen to is on Saturdays. That's What She Said Sports. That's out of Buckhead, Atlanta, AM 920 with Nicole Monique and BG. They had a wonderful guest on this past week, Mr. Eric Gray from Catalyst Sports. And he's the adaptive sports specialist with veteran programs. I mean, and it's all about discussing and empowering others by providing the highest quality of adaptive sports to the disabled community. So without further ado, it's my pleasure. Eric, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. As with all of our guests, I'm going to thank you for taking the time out for our live show to join us during the evening. I mean, there's a million and one things that you could be doing right now, but you're here with us virtually, and we definitely appreciate it, and we appreciate all the good works that you do. I will go on mute because I want you to tell the story of how Catalyst Sports came about.
Okay, absolutely. So, like you said, my background is in recreation and adaptive sports, and I just finished working in Park City, Utah, and transferred and kind of changed jobs into working at a VA hospital in Augusta, Georgia. And this was in an active duty rehab unit. So these were guys getting injured in Iraq and Afghanistan and coming back, and knowing that there was an overflow of veterans at Walter Reed Army Medical Center, we would start seeing those guys coming straight from overseas. So, and when these guys were coming back, a lot of them, they might have come back with no legs or a spinal cord injury or missing an arm or something like that, and there really weren't activities or opportunities for them to get involved again and kind of use recreation and leisure, which I think is a big important piece in all of our lives. Really an opportunity to do that. So when I was there at the VA, I started an adaptive kayaking program, adaptive golf program, and when I say adaptive, it's pretty much taking a regular activity and making it so that someone that might be, missing an arm or can't stand up can still swing a golf club or still paddle with one arm, just based off different types of adaptations. So I did that for 5 years and just saw the impact that it made, and I thought, man, if I can do this in a small place like Augusta, Georgia, imagine what I could do in Atlanta. So I moved to Atlanta, started Catalyst Sports when we took 3 disabled veterans, amputees, and Andrew Sullins and Nate Watson and a couple other guys. We took them up the Grand Teton out in Jackson, Wyoming. So this 13,000-foot peak, and summited on 9/11 in 2012. And that was kind of our way of saying, this is who we are, this is what we do, and now we want to provide this opportunity to anyone else with any other type of disability.
Eric, that is awesome. That is awesome. I want to get into it before we start talking the technology behind it. And even if we don't get to it, I think we want to post something on the Late Night Parent site. But tell us about what's happening this weekend in Atlanta. Okay,
absolutely. So this weekend we're having a fundraiser. It's called Pints for Patriots. So Atlanta has this huge. It's called the Peachtree Road Race. Something like 60,000 people come out and run 6 miles down Peachtree Road, and then following that, kind of where the race started, there's a restaurant called Meehan, and it's just an opportunity to come out and meet some of the veterans that we work with and some of the veterans that climb with us. We're gonna have barbecue and beverages and just a good time to hang out on the 4th of July, and then all the proceeds Meehan's is donating to Catalyst Sports so that we can continue with this initiative of helping our veterans.
Excellent. So right now, Catalyst Sports is available in Atlanta, Nashville, Charlotte, Chattanooga, and Knoxville. Those are the locations. Like, you have satellite offices there, or you put together your related services there. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're based out of Atlanta. That's kind of where we got started, but more people just saw like what we did, and they're like, we have a climbing gym. Why can't we provide this opportunity? And what's great about these climbing gyms is they're a good, safe learning environment, as opposed to, taking someone outside for the first time. You have to worry about the elements and the rocks and all that. So it's a good training ground. And so people came to us and said, hey, we want to do what you're doing. What does that take? We love how you're structuring everything. Like, can we start a chapter? And so pretty much it's just been volunteers, whether they're physical therapists or occupational therapists in the hospital. We work with the kids and adults as well. So we've had teachers come up and say, hey, my kids would love this. Let's get something going up here in Knoxville or in Charlotte. And so that's kind of how we've expanded, just people really interested in providing this activity that, for the most part, had not been provided to people with disabilities prior to this.
Are you able to speak to the adaptive technology that you guys have put together? So let's say if someone is missing a limb, and they are still able to get up there and climb, or some type of simulation of that.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all about kind of using their abilities. So whatever abilities they do have, and kind of allowing them to push themselves to the max. So a lot of times with someone with an amputation, the way their foot is their foot is meant to bend, so that when you walk, you're just like our ankles and feet, they bend and makes a nice easy gait. But when you're climbing, you wear these stiff climbing shoes. You want to really put a lot of pressure on the toe, so that you can really get some good friction and really stand on that foot. So essentially, there's specific climbing feet that are rigid that you can essentially unscrew the current foot that someone has on, take it off, put on a climbing foot, and now they trust that foot and they're able to move forward with that. There's another piece of adaptive equipment, and it's actually called the Wellman system. So Mark Wellman was a ranger out in Yosemite National Park. He fell off a 100-foot cliff, broke his back, and said he'd never climb again. Well, one of his buddies said, we're going to climb again, and he made this rig where essentially his friend would go up ahead of him and drop a rope, and then he would do a pull-up to get up the rope. So over and over again, he did over 4,000 pull-ups over 8 days and made it to the top of El Cap, just an iconic mountain. And so we've taken that, we've added some pulleys so that for those that aren't as buff as this guy that can pull his body weight up, 4,000 times, we can make it so you only pull up a fifth of your body weight. So again, if you only have one arm, or if you're missing your legs, or you have a spinal cord injury, or whatever that is, we've found ways to adapt that you can use on your own power, equipment to help you make it to the top.
Excellent, Eric. Real briefly, can you talk about the partnerships like Blaze Sports America, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, Shepherd Center, Stone Summit Climbing and Fitness Center? Briefly talk about the partnerships they have with Catalyst Sports.
Okay, absolutely. So Stone Summit is, for a while, the largest indoor climbing gym in the nation, and they actually just built a second one in Atlanta. And so they've really opened up their doors. They allow us to climb there at an extremely discounted rate, and they're just happy to make their gym as accessible and open to everyone. So that's kind of our climbing gym. And then Children's Healthcare of Atlanta has one of the top rehab facilities in the country. Shepherd Spinal Center, they've been number one, number two in the country for a long time. For treating, people with spinal cord injuries and traumatic brain injuries. And then Blaze Sports America is another, it's an adaptive sports program that came out of the 96 Olympics. So they've been around for a long time. And so these are well-established organizations that that kind of saw what we were doing. They said, hey, our patients, or our clients would love to engage in this. We'd love to partner with you. We'd love to, provide, this opportunity for our clientele. And we said, absolutely. We'd love. Outreach is one of the most important pieces, because if people don't know, if you're in a wheelchair, you really don't think about climbing. And so unless someone comes up to you and says, hey, there's this climbing program for you, then you're probably not going to go out and pursue it. So we have this great relationship with all these hospitals where people just come out, they get excited, and then the word spreads like wildfire.
I got to tell you, you really need to be commended on the good works that you are doing. You and your colleagues, your executive team that is also, pressing along with this with your company. I'm at a loss for words, because that's really making the moves to make a difference. So I appreciate having you on. Last question I have for you is, so you're heavy in Atlanta and Tennessee and Charlotte, North Carolina. Where's the next location that you're thinking about?
We've I heard rumor has it they're building a gym in Birmingham, so that'll take care of Alabama. And we were doing a climb in Kentucky, so we do outdoor climbs as well. So we start inside, we go outside. Lexington, Kentucky's building a gym, and they're interested. And then there's some other organization like ours. So there's actually one in New York. It's called the Adaptive Climbing Group, and they climb out of Brooklyn Boulders. And I think they have something in Philadelphia as well. And then there's Paradox Sports, which is in Colorado. So those are kind of the other two programs. So we feel there's plenty in the Southeast to keep us busy. So whenever a gym goes up, if ever anyone is interested in saying, how can I do this? How can I host this? Send us an email, give us a phone call, go to our website, see what it's all about. We're more than happy to help people just empower themselves. Because once they realize, a lot of times they put a restriction on themselves. They're like, well, I've been told I can't climb because I only have one arm. So why would I even try that? And then they come out and they successfully climb and they become, very proficient at climbing. Then they think to themselves, well, if I can do this, what else can I do? What else have I been limiting myself to because of what other people have said, it's probably not a good idea to try. So we're just all about, building that community and allowing everyone to be a part of it.
Definitely. Eric, I want to give you a round of applause for the great work that you guys are doing. And thanks for letting me come on and kind of share, my passion and my vision for what we're doing in the community and talking a little bit about Pints for Patriots this July 4th. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Eric, you're always welcome. Last question is, tell us the ways to get in contact with you about Catalyst Sports. So what I'm looking for is social media, whether, your Twitter handle, your Facebook page. Let the folks know.
Absolutely. So it's Catalyst Sports, CATALYST Sports. So Facebook, / Catalyst Sports, Twitter, Catalyst Sports, and then our website is Team Catalyst. So teamcatalyst.org. So those are different ways that you can find us. We're out there on Pinterest and Twitter and Facebook and anything else we can get into. So